Get this homeless man out of my building now. Marcus Reynolds' voice echoed through the marble lobby of Reynolds Tower. 42 floors of glass and steel, the crown jewel of his $3 billion empire. Security grabbed the old man by the arm, torn coat, matted gray hair, the smell of the streets. "Sir, please, I just needed somewhere warm. It's Christmas Eve." "Christmas Eve doesn't give you the right to sleep in my lobby." Marcus turned to leave. Then he saw it. The old man's sleeve rode up as security pulled him, and there, on his wrist, scratched, faded, but unmistakable, a watch. His father's watch. The same watch that had been missing for 27 years. The same watch his father was wearing the night he disappeared. Marcus's blood turned to ice. "Wait. Stop. Everyone stop." He walked slowly toward the homeless man, heart pounding. "Where did you get that watch?" The old man looked up, and when their eyes met, Marcus saw something that made no sense. The old man was crying. "I've been waiting for you to ask me that question for 27 years, son." Before we go any further, let me know where you're watching from right now. New York, London, Lagos, Toronto, Sydney? Wherever you are, drop your location in the comments. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Story Buddy and hit that notification bell, because what happens next, I promise you, you won't see it coming. Marcus Reynolds hadn't spoken to his father since he was 9 years old. December 23rd, 1996, the night everything changed. His father, William Reynolds, had kissed him goodnight, promised to be there when he woke up, promised they'd open presents together, promised that this Christmas would be different. And then he vanished. No note, no call, no explanation. Marcus remembered waking up Christmas Eve morning, running downstairs in his pajamas, expecting to see his father by the tree. The tree was there, the presents were there, but his father's chair was empty. "Mom, where's Dad?" His mother, Catherine, was sitting at the kitchen table, coffee cup in her hands, face like stone. "He's gone, Marcus. He left us." "What do you mean, he left? Where did he go?" "I don't know, and I don't care, and neither should you." "But, Mom—" "Your father is a liar and a coward. He abandoned us. He chose someone else over us, over you. Don't ever ask me about him again." Marcus was 9 years old. He didn't understand, couldn't understand. All he knew was that his father had promised to be there, and he wasn't. That was the day Marcus Reynolds stopped believing in promises. The police searched for 3 months. William Reynolds, 42 years old, CEO of Reynolds Construction, last seen December 23rd, 1996. His car was found abandoned on Highway 17, keys in the ignition, wallet on the passenger seat. No signs of struggle, no signs of foul play. The official conclusion: William Reynolds had walked away from his life, left his wife, left his son, disappeared into the night like a ghost. The newspapers called it the Reynolds mystery. For weeks it was all anyone talked about. The successful businessman who vanished without a trace, the family left behind, the questions that would never be answered. Catherine Reynolds held a press conference 1 month after her husband disappeared. "My husband made his choice," she'd said, her voice steady, her eyes dry. "He chose to abandon his family. I'm choosing to move forward, for my son, for our future. William Reynolds is dead to us." Marcus watched that press conference from the living room, 9 years old, still wearing his father's old sweater because it smelled like him, still hoping every car that pulled into the driveway would be his dad coming home. His mother found him that night, took the sweater, threw it in the trash. "He's not coming back, Marcus. The sooner you accept it, the better." Marcus accepted it. He had no choice. But he never forgot, and he never forgave. 27 years. That's how long Marcus carried the weight of his father's abandonment. He graduated high school at 16, college at 19, MBA at 22. Not because he was brilliant, but because he was angry, driven by a fire that never went out. Every A he earned was a message to his father. Look what I did without you. Every deal he closed was revenge. Look how successful I am without you. Every building he bought was proof. I don't need you. I never needed you. By the time he was 35, Marcus Reynolds was worth $500 million. By 40, $1.5 billion. By 45, $3 billion. Reynolds Tower, Reynolds Plaza, Reynolds Center. His name on buildings across Manhattan, his face on the cover of Forbes, his story told as inspiration. The boy who was abandoned, the man who built an empire, the billionaire who proved that success was the best revenge. But there were things the magazines didn't write about. The wife who left him after 7 years. I don't know who you are anymore, Marcus. You're so cold, so distant. It's like you're not even here. The 2 children who barely spoke to him. Dad, you missed my graduation. Dad, you forgot my birthday. Dad, why are you never around? The empty penthouse on the 42nd floor, 6,000 square feet of marble and glass, and no one to share it with. Marcus Reynolds had everything money could buy, and nothing money couldn't. He told himself it didn't matter, told himself family was a weakness, told himself he was better off alone. But every Christmas Eve, every single one for 27 years, he stood at his window, looked out at the city lights, and wondered, "Where are you, Dad? Why wasn't I enough?" Now, Christmas Eve, 2023, a homeless man was wearing his father's watch, and nothing made no sense anymore. "Who are you?" Marcus's voice shook. "And don't lie to me. I'll know if you're lying." The old man didn't flinch, didn't look away. His eyes were steady, sad, ancient with secrets. "My name is Daniel Patterson. I was your father's driver, his friend, and I was with him the night he disappeared." Marcus felt the floor tilt beneath him. "My father didn't have a driver named Daniel Patterson." "He did, for 6 years, but your mother made sure all records of me were destroyed after that night." "After what night? What are you talking about?" Daniel took a slow breath, like he'd been rehearsing this moment for decades, like every word had been carefully chosen and carried. "The night your father didn't abandon you, Marcus. The night he was taken." Taken. The word hung in the air, heavy, impossible. Marcus wanted to laugh, wanted to call security, wanted to walk away and forget this conversation ever happened. But he couldn't move, couldn't look away from the old man's face, from the tears still streaming down weathered cheeks, from the watch, his father's watch, catching the light of the Christmas tree. Taken by who? Your mother. Marcus laughed then, harsh, bitter, the sound of a man who'd heard something too absurd to process. "My mother loved my father." "Your mother loved your father's money. There's a difference." "You're insane. Security. She found out about the other family." Marcus stopped, his hand frozen halfway to his phone. What other family? Daniel reached into his coat, slowly, carefully, like he was handling something precious. He pulled out a photograph, worn, creased, edges soft from years of handling. It showed William Reynolds, younger, healthier, alive, standing with a woman and 2 children, a boy about 7, a girl about 5. They were at a park, sunshine, smiles, a family portrait. Marcus's father was smiling, really smiling, the kind of smile Marcus had never seen, the kind of smile that comes from pure, unguarded happiness. Her name was Sarah Mitchell. Daniel's voice was soft. The boy is James. The girl is Emily. They live in Seattle now. They don't know you exist, and you don't know they exist because your mother made of it. Marcus couldn't breathe. His chest was tight, his vision blurring. You're telling me my father had another family? I'm telling you your father fell in love with someone who wasn't your mother. I'm telling you, he was planning to leave on Christmas Day, to start a new life in Seattle, to file for divorce and fight for custody of you." Daniel paused. "And I'm telling you, your mother found out." "This is insane," Marcus's voice cracked. "This is completely insane. My mother would never—" "Your mother was capable of things you can't imagine." Daniel looked around the lobby, security guards watching, staff pretending not to listen, the weight of the Reynolds name pressing down on everything. "Is there somewhere private we can talk? What I have to tell you, it's not for an audience." Marcus should have said no, should have called the police, should have had this crazy old man thrown out on the street. But the watch, his father's watch. William Reynolds wore that watch every day of his life. Marcus remembered playing with it as a child, tracing the engraving on the back with his tiny fingers. "To William, my heart, my home, forever, Catherine, 1982. His mother had given his father that watch as a wedding gift. She'd reported it missing the day after he disappeared, said it must have been stolen, said it was probably pawned somewhere. But it wasn't pawned, it was here, on this homeless man's wrist, 27 years later. "Follow me," Marcus heard himself say. He led Daniel to the private elevator, pressed the button for 42, watched the floors tick by in silence. When the doors opened to the penthouse, Daniel stopped, looked around at the marble floors, the floor-to-ceiling windows, the art that cost more than most people's houses. "Your father would hate this," he said quietly. "Excuse me?" "All this, the coldness of it, the emptiness. William loved warmth, loved laughter, loved rooms full of people and noise and life. This," he gestured around, "this looks like a mausoleum." Marcus felt something twist in his chest, a memory, long buried. His father's office at Reynolds Construction, cluttered desk, photos everywhere, the smell of coffee and sawdust, a small radio playing jazz, always playing jazz. His father spinning him around in the office chair, laughing, both of them laughing. "When did you lose your laugh, little man? When did you become so serious?" Marcus blinked the memory away. "Sit down, Mr. Patterson, and tell me everything." Daniel sat on the leather couch. Marcus remained standing, arms crossed, walls up. "I started working for your father in 1990, Daniel began. "I was 38, just moved to Detroit from New York, needed work. Your father needed a driver." He paused, eyes distant, remembering. "William Reynolds was different from other rich men I'd worked for. He talked to me, asked about my life, my family, my dreams. Most wealthy people look right through their staff. Your father looked right at me." Marcus said nothing, but something in his chest loosened, just slightly. "After 6 months, he knew everything about me, knew I had a wife named Ruth, knew we'd lost a son, stillborn, 1985, knew Ruth never recovered, knew I worked 3 jobs trying to pay her medical bills after she had a breakdown." Daniel's voice cracked. "Your father paid off those bills, every single one. Never told me he was going to do it. I just got a letter one day. Account balance 0, paid in full by an anonymous donor. But I knew. I always knew." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I need you to understand who your father really was before I tell you what your mother did to him. I met Sarah Mitchell in 1993. Daniel looked at Marcus, gauging his reaction. "Your father asked me to drive him to a restaurant in Brooklyn, little Italian place, red checkered tablecloths, candles and wine bottles. He was nervous. I'd never seen him nervous before. There was a woman waiting for him, blonde, pretty, smiled at him like he was the only person in the world. I thought it was a business meeting at first. Then I saw the way he looked at her, and I knew." Marcus's jaw tightened. "My father was having an affair." "Yes." "For how long?" 3 years, by the time he disappeared." 3 years. Marcus's voice was barely a whisper. "Your father wasn't happy, Marcus. I don't say that to excuse what he did. There's no excuse. But you need to understand the context. What context could possibly? Your mother was cruel to him. Daniel held up his hand before Marcus could interrupt. I know she raised you. I know you love her. But Catherine Reynolds was not the woman she pretended to be in public. Behind closed doors, she was controlling, manipulative, jealous beyond reason. She monitored his phone calls, read his mail, accused him of cheating even before Sarah. If he came home late from work, he was seeing someone. If he talked to a female colleague, he was betraying her. That doesn't give him the right to. No, it doesn't. And your father carried that guilt every day. But people are complicated, Marcus. Good people do bad things. Bad people do good things. Your father loved your mother once. Then he loved someone else. It happens. It's human. Sarah Mitchell was a teacher, 3rd grade, elementary school in Brooklyn. She wasn't rich, wasn't connected, wasn't anything special by society's standards. But she made your father laugh. I could hear it through the partition. Real laughter, the kind he never had at home. They met once a week at first, then twice, then 3 times. By 1995, he was spending every moment he could with her. I drove him there, every time. I kept his secret. I'm not proud of that. But your father, he was more than an employer to me. He was the closest thing I had to a brother. Daniel wiped his eyes. Then Sarah got pregnant, 1994. James was born in March 1995, Emily in January 1997. Your father had 2 families, 2 lives, and he was drowning in the weight of both. Marcus walked to the window, looked out at the city, the lights, the snow beginning to fall. Why didn't he just leave if he was so unhappy? Why stay? Because of you. Marcus turned. Your father loved you more than anything in this world, more than Sarah, more than the other children, more than his own life. Leaving your mother meant leaving you, and he couldn't do it. Then why was he at the airport that night? You said he was going to Seattle. Because something changed December 26, 1996. Your mother found out about Sarah, about James and Emily, about everything. How? She hired a private investigator, Richard Blackwell, ex-FBI, expensive, thorough. He followed your father for 3 months, documented everything. Photos, phone records, love letters. Your mother knew about the affair since September, but she didn't confront him. She waited, planned. She's always been good at planning. December 22nd, 1996, the night before your father disappeared. Your mother invited him to dinner, just the 2 of them. You were at a friend's house, a sleepover she'd arranged. She served his favorite meal, pot roast, mashed potatoes, the wine they'd had on their wedding night. Your father thought she was trying to reconnect, thought maybe things could get better. He told me he was hopeful for the first time in years. Then she showed him the photos. Sarah and William at the restaurant, Sarah and William at her apartment, Sarah pregnant, Sarah with James, Sarah with Emily. Your mother didn't scream, didn't cry, didn't throw things. She was perfectly calm, perfectly controlled, and she told him what was going to happen. Daniel's voice went cold, mechanical, like he was reciting something he'd memorized long ago. She said, "You have 2 choices, William. Choice 1, you end things with Sarah. Never see her again, never see those children again. You stay here, you play the perfect husband, and give me complete control of the finances, and this stays our secret. And choice 2? Choice 2, I destroy you. I take the company, I take Marcus, I take everything you've ever worked for. I tell the world what kind of man you really are, and I make sure Sarah's life becomes a living hell." Your father sat there for almost an hour, your mother said, just stared at the photos, at the life he'd built, at the life he was about to lose. Then he said something your mother didn't expect. No. No? Your father refused, both options. He told your mother he wanted a divorce, a real divorce, fair division of assets, shared custody of you. He said he'd take care of Sarah and the children, but he wouldn't abandon them, wouldn't pretend they didn't exist. He said, "I've been lying for 3 years. I'm done lying. I want to be honest for the first time in my life." Your mother, she didn't take that well. What did she do? That night, nothing. She smiled, said they'd discuss it in the morning, kissed him on the cheek like nothing was wrong. But she was already planning, already making calls, already putting things in motion. What things? The accident. December 23rd, 1996, 11:47 p.m. I was driving your father to the airport, red-eye to Seattle. He was going to spend Christmas with Sarah and the children, tell them the truth about his other life, start the process of bringing everything into the open. He was scared, but he was ready. I'd never seen him so certain of anything. We were on Highway 17, empty road, nobody around, snow just starting to fall. That's when the SUV appeared. Black, no plates, came out of nowhere, ran us off the road at 60 miles per hour. I remember the crunch of metal, the shatter of glass, the world spinning, then nothing. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed, broken ribs, punctured lung, concussion. Your father was gone. The police told me I was driving alone, that there was no passenger, that I must be confused from the head injury. I told them about William, told them about the SUV, told them someone had run us off the road. They looked at me like I was crazy. Said the accident report showed a single vehicle, single occupant, no evidence of another car. That's when your mother walked in. She came to the hospital? 2 days after the accident, Christmas Day, she came alone. Daniel's hands were shaking now, the memories still fresh after all these years. She sat beside my bed, held my hand like a concerned friend. Then she leaned close, and she told me what was going to happen. "My husband is dead, Mr. Patterson," she said. Her voice was soft, almost gentle. "He died in a car accident, alone. You were never in that car. You never worked for this family. And if you ever try to contact my son or tell anyone what really happened, I will destroy you. I will destroy Ruth, your wife, the one in the psychiatric facility. I will have her committed permanently. I will make sure she never sees daylight again. I will destroy your sister in Detroit, the one with the 3 children. I will find ways to take those children from her, legal ways, expensive ways, ways that can't be traced back to me. And I will destroy you. I will plant evidence that makes you look like a criminal, a thief, a predator. I will make sure you spend the rest of your life in prison, wishing you had died in that crash." Daniel's voice broke. Then she handed me an envelope, $50,000 in cash, and she said, "Take this, disappear, and pray I never see your face again." And you took it. Marcus's voice was cold, hard, the voice of a man who'd spent his life building walls. You took the money. You disappeared. You let me believe my father abandoned me for 27 years. Yes. You could have gone to the police, could have fought back, could have told someone, anyone. I was scared. Daniel's eyes were wet. I was broken. My wife was in a facility your mother could have destroyed with one phone call. My sister's children, your mother knew things about them, school schedules, medical records, things she shouldn't have known. I believed her, Marcus. I believed she would do exactly what she said, because the woman who stood over my hospital bed, the woman who smiled while she threatened to destroy everyone I loved, that woman was capable of anything. So you just vanished. I tried to build a new life, moved to Chicago, got a job driving trucks, long haul, cross country, Anything to keep moving, keep from thinking. Ruth died in 2003. The facility. They said it was her heart, but I think she just gave up. I wasn't there. Couldn't be there. Your mother had eyes everywhere. Daniel stared at his hands. After Ruth, I started drinking. Lost the truck job. Lost the apartment. Lost everything. Spent 15 years on the streets. Different cities, different shelters. Always moving. Always looking over my shoulder. Then, 3 years ago, I heard your mother died. I was in a shelter in Boston. Someone left a newspaper. Business section. Catherine Reynolds, widow of missing businessman William Reynolds, dies at 78. I read that article 17 times, memorized every word, and I felt something I hadn't felt in 20 years. Hope. Your mother was gone. The threat was gone. I could finally tell the truth. But I couldn't just show up at your door, couldn't call your office. You had security, lawyers, a wall of people between you and the world. So I came to New York, started watching, learning your patterns, where you worked, where you lived, where you went, and I discovered something. Every Christmas Eve, you hold a gala on the 42nd floor. Every Christmas Eve, you stand at the window alone while everyone else celebrates. And every Christmas Eve, you look sad, lost, like a boy still waiting for his father to come home. Daniel reached into his coat again, pulled out another photograph. This one was different, newer, printed on regular paper. It showed the lobby of Reynolds Tower, Christmas Eve, last year, a man standing at the window, back to the camera, shoulders hunched, alone. Marcus, Daniel said. I took this last year, from across the street. I was going to come in then, tell you everything. Why didn't you? Because I saw your face when you turned around, the emptiness, the anger, the walls, and I realized you weren't ready. If I told you the truth that night, you wouldn't have believed me, would have called security, had me arrested, dismissed everything I said as the ramblings of a crazy homeless man. So I waited, watched, learned your patterns, and I realized there was something else I needed to find first, something that would make you believe. What? Your father. Marcus stopped breathing. What did you say? Your father, Marcus, William Reynolds. He's alive. That's impossible. He's been gone for 27 years. If he was alive, he's not living, not really. He's existing in a facility upstate, drugged, confused, forgotten, but alive. Marcus sat down, heavily, like his legs couldn't hold him anymore. How do you know this? Because I found him 6 months ago. After your mother died, I started digging, hired a private investigator with the last of my savings, told him to follow the money. Your mother was smart, but she made one mistake. She set up a trust in 1997, anonymous, untraceable, except the investigator found a pattern. Payments, $40,000 every month, to a memory care facility in upstate New York, Pinewood Care Center. I went there, talked my way in, said I was looking for a lost relative, and I found him. Room 114, William Reynolds, listed under the name John Mitchell. John Mitchell. Sarah's last name, Daniel said. Your mother's final cruelty, naming him after the woman he loved, the woman he left her for, reminding him every day, even if he couldn't remember why. Marcus's hands were shaking. What's wrong with him? Early onset dementia, caused by years of heavy medication, sedatives, antipsychotics, things that were never meant to be used long term. Your mother didn't kill him, Marcus. She just erased him, made him disappear, locked him away where no one would find him, let the drugs destroy his mind piece by piece. He doesn't remember Seattle, doesn't remember Sarah. Most days he doesn't remember his own name. Daniel paused. But some days he remembers you. Take me to him. Marcus was on his feet, grabbing his coat, his keys. Now, take me to him now. It's Christmas Eve, almost midnight. The facility won't let us in. I don't care what time it is. I don't care if they let us in. I will buy that building if I have to. I will tear down the doors with my bare hands. He stopped, turned to face Daniel. If you're lying to me, if this is some kind of scam, some elaborate con, I will destroy you. I have the resources to make your life a living hell. Do you understand? Daniel smiled, sad, knowing. You sound just like your mother. Marcus flinched, the words landing like a slap. I'm not lying, Marcus. I've waited 27 years to tell you the truth. I've got nothing left to lose, nothing left to gain. I just want to keep the promise I made. What promise? The promise I made to your father, the night of the accident. Before the SUV hit us, he looked at me and said, if anything happens to me, Daniel, promise me you'll find a way to tell Marcus the truth. Promise me he'll know I didn't abandon him. Daniel's voice broke. I've been carrying that promise for 27 years. Tonight, I finally get to keep it. The drive to Pinewood took 2 hours. Snow falling heavy now. Roads nearly empty. Just Marcus and Daniel in the back of the town car. The driver, silent, professional, asking no questions. Marcus called ahead, spoke to the facility director, made threats, made promises, made it very clear that he would be visiting room 114 tonight, no exceptions. Money talks. By the time they arrived, the doors were open, staff waiting, nervous, accommodating. Mr. Reynolds, the director said, I want you to know we had no idea about the circumstances. The payments came from a trust. Everything seemed legitimate. We never... I don't care about your excuses. Marcus's voice was ice. Take me to him. Room 114. Marcus stood outside the door, hands shaking, heart pounding. 27 years. 27 years of anger, of hurt, of believing the worst about a man he'd loved more than anything. And his father had been here the whole time, 50 miles from Manhattan, trapped, forgotten, erased. I can't do this. Daniel put a hand on his shoulder, gentle, steady. Yes, you can. You've been doing hard things your whole life. This is just one more. What if he doesn't remember me? Then you remind him as many times as it takes for as long as he has left. Marcus took a breath, pushed open the door. The room was small, clean, a single window showing a snow-covered garden, Christmas lights blinking outside, a small tree in the corner, decorated with paper ornaments, the kind children make in school. And there, sitting in a wheelchair, facing the window, an old man, thin, frail, white hair where there had once been black, hands trembling, shoulders hunched. But the profile, the jawline, the shape of his ears, Marcus would know that silhouette anywhere. Dad? The old man didn't turn, didn't respond, just kept staring at the snow. Marcus walked closer, slowly, like approaching a wounded animal. Dad, it's me. It's Marcus. Still nothing. Marcus knelt beside the wheelchair, looked up at his father's face. The eyes were cloudy, distant, lost in some place Marcus couldn't reach. But they were his father's eyes, the same eyes that had looked at him with love every day of his childhood, the same eyes that crinkled when he laughed, the same eyes Marcus had dreamed about for 27 years. Dad, please, look at me. The old man turned, slowly, confused. Do I know you? The words shattered something inside Marcus. 27 years of anger, 27 years of believing he'd been abandoned, 27 years of building walls so high no one could ever hurt him again. All of it meaningless. His father hadn't abandoned him. His father had been stolen from him, locked away, drugged, destroyed by his own mother. "It's me, Dad. It's Marcus, your son." William Reynolds' face was blank, empty. The dementia had taken so much: memories, words, the ability to recognize the people he loved. But then, something flickered. A light behind the clouds, a spark in the darkness. "Marcus?" His voice was thin, rusty from disuse. "My little boy?" Yes, Dad, I'm here. But you're so tall now." "I grew up, Dad. I grew up without you." William's hand reached out, trembling, weak, touched Marcus's face. "I waited for you," he said. "Every day I waited for you to come. They told me you forgot about me, told me you didn't want to see me, but I waited anyway." Marcus broke. The billionaire, the empire builder, the man who hadn't cried since he was 9 years old. He broke. Sobs tore through him, raw, ugly, the grief of 27 years pouring out at once. "I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I thought you left me. I thought you didn't love me." "Leave you?" William's eyes were wet now, crying even though he didn't fully understand why. "I could never leave you. I love you. I've always loved you." His trembling hand found Marcus's. "Even when I couldn't remember your name, I remembered I loved someone. I just couldn't remember who." And they sat there, father and son, holding hands in the snowlight. 27 years of separation ended on Christmas Eve. Daniel watched from the doorway, tears streaming down his face. He thought about Ruth, dead 15 years now. Thought about the promise he'd made, the secret he'd carried, the guilt he'd lived with. He thought about all the years he'd spent running, hiding, hating himself for being too afraid to do the right thing. But tonight he'd finally kept his promise. Tonight, William Reynolds had his son back. Daniel leaned against the doorframe, pressed his hand to his chest. The pain there had been getting worse. The lung cancer, stage 4, 6 months if he was lucky. But he'd made it long enough to see this moment, made it long enough to give Marcus the truth. That was enough. That had to be enough. 3 hours later, Christmas morning, 3 a.m. Marcus sat in the facility's conference room. William was sleeping now, peaceful. The nurses said he'd smiled as he drifted off. First time in years. Daniel sat across from Marcus, exhausted, pale, but calm. "There's more you need to know," Daniel said. "More?" "Sarah Mitchell, your father's other family, she's still alive, lives in Seattle, teaches at the same school, never married anyone else." "Does she know? About my father? About what really happened?" "No. She thinks he died in the accident. The same story your mother told everyone. She mourned him, raised his children alone, never stopped loving him." Daniel pulled out his phone, showed Marcus a photo. A woman, late 50s, blonde going gray, kind face, standing with 2 younger people, a man and a woman. James Reynolds, 34, accountant, married, 2 kids, lives in Portland now. Emily Reynolds, 32, doctor, oncologist, single, lives in Seattle with her mother. Marcus stared at the photo. His half-brother, his half-sister, family he never knew he had. They don't know about me? They don't know about any of it. Sarah told them their father died before Emily was born, told them he was a good man who loved them. That's all they know. I have to tell them. Marcus looked up, decision made. They deserve to know their father is alive. They deserve to know the truth. "It won't be easy," Daniel said. "They've lived their whole lives believing one thing, finding out it was all a lie.
That changes a person. I know, but they're my family. Marcus's voice cracked on the word. I've spent my whole life alone, pushing people away, building walls. I don't want to do that anymore. He looked at Daniel. Will you help me? Will you help me tell them? Daniel smiled, tired, peaceful. I've waited 27 years for someone to ask me that. 2 days later, December 27th, Seattle. Marcus stood outside a small house in a quiet neighborhood. Christmas lights still up, wreath on the door, a minivan in the driveway. Daniel was beside him, weaker now. The trip had taken a lot out of him, but he'd insisted on coming. This is the place, Daniel said. Sarah's lived here for 30 years. Marcus raised his hand to knock, hesitated. What if she doesn't believe me? What if she hates me? She won't hate you, Marcus. You're not the one who destroyed her life. You're just the one who's bringing it back. Marcus knocked. The door opened. A woman stood there, the same woman from the photo, older in person, tired eyes, but kind, warm. Can I help you? Mrs. Mitchell? My name is Marcus Reynolds. I'm William's son. William? You're William's boy? From his first marriage? Yes, man. I know this is unexpected. I know you don't know me, but I have something to tell you, something important. Is this about inheritance? Because I never wanted his money. I told Catherine that years ago. I just wanted... He's alive. The words stopped everything. Sarah's face went white. What? William, my father, he's alive. He's been alive this whole time, and I need to tell you the truth about what happened to him. They sat in Sarah's living room. Marcus told her everything. The affair Catherine discovered, the threat she made, the night of the accident, the facility upstate, the drugs, the dementia, all of it. Sarah listened in silence, tears streaming down her face.
When Marcus finished, she didn't speak for a long time, just stared at her hands, at the ring she still wore, William's ring, the one he'd given her in 1994. 27 years, she finally said. He's been alone for 27 years. Not alone anymore, Marcus said. I found him. I'm bringing him home. Home? Where is home? Wherever his family is. All of his family. Marcus reached across, took her hand. I know I'm a stranger to you. I know this is a lot to process, but I want to know you. I want to know James and Emily. I want us to be a family, the family my father wanted us to be. Sarah looked at him, saw William in his eyes, in his jawline, in the way he held himself, and she made a decision. James and Emily are coming for dinner tonight, she said. Stay, meet them, let them meet you. Are you sure? Your father loved you more than anything. He talked about you all the time, how smart you were, how kind, how much you deserved better than the life he was giving you. Sarah squeezed his hand. He would want this. He would want all of us together. That night, dinner at Sarah's house. James and Emily arrived at 6 p.m., confused by their mother's urgent call, by the stranger sitting in their living room. Mom, what's going on? Who is this? Sarah took a breath, looked at Marcus, at Daniel, at the children she'd raised alone for 30 years. Sit down, both of you. I have something to tell you. The conversation lasted 4 hours. Tears, anger, disbelief, more tears. James paced the room. Emily sat frozen, both of them trying to process the impossible. Our father is alive? James' voice was raw. He's been alive this whole time? In some facility in New York? Yes. And his wife, his first wife, she put him there, drugged him, kept him prisoner for 27 years. Yes. James turned to Marcus. And you're our brother? We have a brother we never knew about? Half-brother, Marcus said. Same father, different mothers. I didn't know about you either until 3 days ago. This is insane, Emily finally spoke. This whole thing is insane. Our father is alive. We have a brother. Everything Mom told us was a lie. Not a lie, Sarah's voice was gentle. I told you what I believed was true, what Catherine made everyone believe. I didn't know, sweetheart. I swear I didn't know. Emily looked at her mother, at the pain in her eyes, the guilt she didn't deserve. Then she stood, walked to Marcus, looked at him for a long moment. You have his eyes, she said, Dad's eyes. I've seen them in pictures my whole life, and now they're looking at me from a stranger's face. I'm not a stranger, Marcus said, not anymore. Emily smiled, watery, hesitant, but real. No, I guess you're not. 3 days later, December 30th, the whole family flew to New York. Sarah, James, Emily, their spouses, their children, all of them crowded into Marcus's penthouse, strangers becoming family. And William. Marcus had arranged for his father to be transferred to a facility in Manhattan, best neurologists in the world, experimental treatments, everything money could buy. William wouldn't recover. The doctors were clear about that. The damage was too extensive, too many years of wrong medications. But he could have good days, could have moments of clarity, could recognize his children, could know that he wasn't alone anymore. New Year's Eve, William's room at the new facility. Marcus had decorated it himself, photos everywhere. Sarah and William at the Italian restaurant, James taking his first steps, Emily's graduation, Marcus as a baby, as a toddler, as a boy. 27 years of memories William had missed, displayed on every wall, every surface, so he could see them, even when he couldn't remember them. The family gathered around his bed, Sarah holding one hand, Marcus holding the other, James and Emily at the foot of the bed, children running around, laughing, living. William looked around at all of them, his family, complete for the first time ever. Did I do this? He asked. His voice was thin, confused. Are all these people here because of me? Yes, Dad. Marcus squeezed his hand. All of us, together, because of you. William smiled. Then I did something right, didn't I? You did everything right, Dad. Everything that mattered. The ball dropped in Times Square. Midnight, a new year. The family cheered, hugged, celebrated. Daniel stood at the window, watching, smiling. Marcus found him there, handed him a glass of champagne. You should be celebrating with us. I am celebrating, Daniel's voice was peaceful, just quietly. Marcus looked at the old man, the homeless man who'd appeared in his lobby 3 days ago, the man who'd carried a secret for 27 years, the man who'd given him back his father. Thank you, Marcus said. I don't know how to repay what you've done. You already have. What do you mean? I made a promise to your father 27 years ago. Tonight, I kept it. That's all the payment I need. Daniel coughed. A wet sound, concerning. Are you okay? The cancer, Daniel smiled, doesn't care about happy endings. What are you talking about? What cancer? Daniel told him. Stage 4, lung cancer, diagnosed 18 months ago, 6 months left if he was lucky. That's why he'd finally got the courage to come forward. He was dying anyway, nothing left to lose. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Because it wasn't about me, Marcus. It was never about me. It was about your father, about you, about putting right what your mother made wrong. Daniel looked out at the city, the lights, the snow, the new year stretching out ahead. I've lived a small life, made small choices, let fear control me for too long. But this, finding your father, bringing your family together, this was the one big thing I got right. He turned to Marcus. That's enough for me. That has to be enough. 6 months later, June 15th, Daniel Patterson died peacefully at a hospice in Manhattan. Marcus was with him at the end, holding his hand the same way Daniel had held William's all those years ago. The funeral was small, private, just the family. All of them. Marcus, Sarah, James, Emily, William in his wheelchair, not understanding where they were, but knowing he should be there. Marcus gave the eulogy. Daniel Patterson saved my father's life, he said. Then he spent 27 years being too afraid to tell anyone.
He called himself a coward, said he waited too long, said he should have been braver. But I've been thinking about courage, what it really means. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing the right thing even when you're terrified. It's keeping a promise when the whole world is trying to make you forget it. It's showing up after 27 years, after everyone else would have given up. Daniel showed up. He walked into my building on Christmas Eve, homeless, dying, with nothing left but a watch and a truth he'd carried for half his life. And he changed everything. Marcus looked at his father, at Sarah, at his brother and sister, at the family he never knew he had. Some people build empires. Some people write books. Some people change the world in big, obvious ways. Daniel Patterson gave a man his father back, gave a family the truth, gave me a reason to believe in people again. That's his legacy. That's what he left behind. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to live up to it. 1 year later, Christmas Eve, Reynolds Tower lobby. The annual gala was different this year. Not a fancy party for business contacts, a family gathering, open to the public, warm place to sleep for those without homes, music, laughter, children running everywhere. And at the center of it all, a simple Christmas tree, decorated with paper ornaments, the kind children make in school. The same ornaments that decorated William's room at Pinewood, the ones Marcus had saved, had framed, had turned into a tradition. Marcus stood by the tree, watching his family. William in his wheelchair, Sarah beside him, holding his hand like she'd never let go. James chasing his kids around the lobby, Emily talking to a group of medical students about her research, her work on dementia treatments, inspired by her father. And everywhere, people. Homeless people eating warm food, families without money experiencing Christmas the way it should be, strangers becoming friends. Marcus thought about last Christmas Eve, standing at this same window, alone, angry, empty. He thought about the homeless man he'd tried to throw out, the watch that changed everything, the truth that set him free. "Hey," Emily appeared beside him, handed him a cup of hot chocolate. "What are you thinking about?" Marcus smiled, really smiled. "I'm thinking about how the person we overlook might be the one holding everything we've been searching for our whole life." Emily nodded, looked out at the crowd. "Dad's having a good day. He remembered my name twice, called James the tall one, even smiled at Sarah. That's a good day. The best kind." They stood in silence for a moment, brother and sister, still getting to know each other, still finding their rhythm. Then Emily spoke again. "Marcus?" "Yeah. Thank you for not giving up, for finding him, for finding us." Marcus put his arm around his sister, pulled her close.
Daniel found me. I just answered the door. Across the room, William Reynolds watched his children. He didn't remember all of them, didn't always know their names, didn't understand why they gathered around him like he was something precious. But he knew he was loved. He knew he wasn't alone. And somewhere, deep in the fog of his broken mind, he remembered a promise. A promise he'd made to a driver, a friend, a brother. "Tell Marcus. Tell him I didn't abandon him. Tell him I love him." Daniel had kept that promise. And now, finally, William could rest. If this story touched you, drop a comment and tell me. Have you ever found truth in an unexpected place? Have you ever been the person waiting to be seen? And if you're new to Story Buddy, welcome to the family. We tell stories about the people the world almost missed. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Where are you watching from tonight? Let me know in the comments. New York, London, Lagos, Sydney, Toronto? Wherever you are, I'm glad you're here. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the story we need most is the one that reminds us it's never too late to tell the truth, never too late to find your family, never too late to keep a promise. Until next time, Story Buddy fam, and remember, the person you overlooked today might be the one holding everything you've been searching for your whole life.